Hi again, I'm Bob Weir with another interview of people running for office in 2022. My guest today is Theresa Blake Goline, who is running for Judge of the 367th District Court. Thanks for being here, Theresa.
Thanks for having me.
And you reside in Shady Shores, correct?
Yes.
All right, if you would begin by telling our viewers something about your qualifications to run for this judgeship.
Well, the 367th District Court is an all-family law court now. It is a general jurisdiction court that can hear any type of law. However, currently it only has a family law docket, and that is my specialty. Since I went to law school, I knew that I wanted to do family law. I opened up my own practice, and I practice almost exclusively family law. So I have the mindset and the experience in the type of law that the court, in the cases that the court is hearing.
And this is, of course, a district court, but it is assigned a family court job. So there are many other district courts, and they would handle felonies and stuff like that, generally speaking, right? There's all kinds of others that they handle. But this one, this 367 court is specifically now a family court, correct?
Correct. It only has family law cases on its docket.
Okay. So that would mean that this court would handle things like domestic violence, divorces, child custody, property cases, things of that nature?
Yes, and when you say domestic violence, the court hears protective orders. And currently this court does not hear the criminal cases that might be attached to a protective order, but it hears domestic violence issues in regards to protective orders.
So someone who is having a contested divorce, for example, would end up going to this family court?
Yes, someone who was getting a divorce, someone who needed a protective order, child custody issues outside of a divorce, grandparents who want to intervene would come into this court if they wanted to have possession or rights and duties to their grandchildren. We hear adoptions in there, we hear property division issues, discovery issues, that sort of thing.
So, if a couple is getting a divorce and they're having a disagreement about how the divorce should go, perhaps the property that's involved in the divorce or child custody, it ends up in family court, and then the judge would speak to the parties, I assume, and then decide how to divide, so to speak.
Yes, well, the judge doesn't speak to the parties. For example, if a person is getting a divorce, for example, it will be assigned to a district court that can hear family law cases. It can be one of many. Currently we have 11 district courts that can hear an array of types of cases. Many of the courts hear family law cases. The 367th, again, is only hearing family law cases, but it would be assigned to one of the family law courts. And the judge of that court would hear the evidence presented by the parties through their attorneys or pro se parties, and they would make a determination as to the division of their property.
Can the judge in this court also assign the couples to mediation, for example?
Yes, that is, most if not all of our family law courts in Denton currently require mediation to occur before the parties would come to a final trial, for example.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
There are other types of hearings, for example, a temporary orders hearing that happens in the middle of a divorce or a child, a SAPSR, which is called a suit affecting the parent-child relationship. There's usually a temporary orders hearing that happens first to kind of help people immediately with what's going to be happening with possession and access to the children, who's paying mortgages, the rights and duties, who's enrolling children into school. So those things, temporary orders happen really quickly, and then, well, they're supposed to, and then the judges usually require mediation before they would come to a final trial, which would be the end of the case.
So mediation is very important because it kind of sets up the case for the court.
Yes, if the parties settle in mediation, we don't have a final trial.
And am I right to assume that most cases are settled in mediation?
Last I looked, approximately 3/4 of cases in family law cases settle in mediation. The majority of a family law case that happened in the courtroom, I would definitely say are temporary orders.
I see. Okay, so after a judgment is rendered in family court, can it be appealed?
Yes, a family law case can be appealed if it goes to final trial, and if one party believes that there was not a just and right division of their property, if one party believes that the judge did not rule in the use their discretion to rule in the best interest of the children, or if they believe something is way off, then they can appeal the judge's final ruling in a family law case.
Oh, I see. And, okay, so if a case, if someone loses a case, one of the parties loses a case and they appeal, and would the appeal go back to the same family court?
Well, if it was appealed and the Court of Appeals reversed and remanded, then it would go back to the same trial court.
All right. So, let me see. How much discretion does a judge have in these cases?
Well, we use the Texas Family Code, the rules of evidence, rules of civil procedure, so a judge has to be within those guidelines. There are a lot of situations where the judge uses their discretion after hearing evidence on the best interest of the child. There are some things that they are discretionary. For example, guideline child support.
Right.
Okay, a determination of community property and that sort of thing. But there are, in a property split, there are factors that the parties can argue to present to the judge to show that they should get a disproportionate share of the property, for example. So there is some discretion involved in a family law ruling.
Right. Okay, we often hear about backlogs in courts. Is that a problem in the family court?
Absolutely. It's one of the reasons why I'm happy that the 367th is an only family law court. When you have a court of general jurisdiction and criminal can be heard and family and civil, a lot of times the family law case will go to a hearing and the judge will be in the middle of a jury trial, for example, and so that family law case will get bumped. And it'll take quite a while to get their issues handled. And I think it's great that we have courts now that are moving towards just hearing family law, so that we can get them going.
And as an attorney, you've handled these cases for some time.
Yes.
You're familiar with how they work.
I'm in the trenches of the family law courts every day.
Yeah. All right, let me get to what kind of campaigning might you be doing for this?
Well, I have lots of signs, yard signs that we're putting out. My husband and my children and we are out there block walking. I've got phone banks set up. I've been to 4 forums, so I've been out there speaking to a lot of our clubs in the community and making myself available. I hand out lots of cards. I have a website. It's Theresa for Judge, which is THERESA, the number 4, judge.com. So you can go there and find out anything you want to about me and contact me. I'd love to talk to you about what this court does and my qualifications. I'm just out there every day trying to be involved in the community.
And your website is on the written portion of this as well, so people can click on that to find out more about you. All right, we are coming to a close, being grabbed by the clock as usual, so is there anything you'd like to add before we finish?
Well, thank you for having me. I believe that I am the best candidate for this particular position, as I am the candidate in this race that focuses their practice on family law, and this is a family law court. Thank you for having me.
And thank you for being here, Theresa, and good luck in the election.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching.